Hello, everybody. Summer break starts next week, and I know you are as excited about it as I am. So, today's story time, I'm going to read two books about things that lots of us do in the summer. The first one is about camping, and the second book is about the beach. So, I think you're really going to like these stories because they're both pretty funny. The first one's called A Camping Spree with Mr. Mcgee by Chris Van Dusen. Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. Mcgee and his little dog Dee packed up the camper and hitched up the load, hopped in the Rambler, and then hit the road. They drove to the mountains far from the sea for 2 nights of camping, or possibly 3. Ah, there's nothing like camping, said Mr. Mcgee. I know you will love it. Just you wait and see. The views are fantastic. There's hardly a sound. Aside from the wildlife, there's no one around. And the air is so sweet you'll sleep like a log, said Mr. Mcgee to his small spotted dog. A few hours later, they took a sharp right and found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful view of Mount Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson too. But perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over a steep waterfall. Ooh, it's pretty nice. Dee gathered the pine cones and branches and logs. Magee made a campfire and cooked some hot dogs. And as the sun set behind far distant knolls, they sat roasting marshmallows over the coals. As the embers went out, they felt tired and dozy, so they climbed in their bunk beds, all comfy and cozy. But while they were falling asleep without care, along came a stumbling, bumbling bear. A kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear. He couldn't see far and he couldn't see near, but he could smell marshmallows, sticky and sweet. The smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. He sniffed out the place where the marshmallows lay, but the car and the camper were in the bear's way. Yet that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing right under the hitch. And as he was shimmying into the gap, he pushed up the hitch, which let go with a snap. Ooh. Now that the camper and car were untied, they started to roll down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away on the old logging road, while the camper was heading to where the stream flowed. It flew down the hill in a wild, bumpy ride, with Dee and Magee sleeping soundly inside. They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream, when splash went the camper right into the stream. The splash shook the camper. They bumped out of bed. Now what in the world was that? Magee said. And when he looked out and saw where they were, his hair stood on end, and so did Dee's fur. They were caught in the rapids, but that wasn't all. They were headed smack dab for the big waterfall. Oh no. Dee and Magee both started to quiver, as faster and faster they headed downriver. But just when they thought they'd fall over the edge, their camper got stuck on a rock at the ledge, so there they were, stranded, Magee and his pup, on the top of a waterfall 50 feet up. Can you imagine? Meanwhile, that nearsighted bear from before was searching for one little marshmallow more, when lo and behold, as if out of a dream, he spied something sweet floating over the stream. But what the bear thought was a marshmallow treat was really the hitch, and not something to eat. The bear was determined to capture his prize, so he jumped in the water right up to his thighs. He splashed through the stream to the edge of the fall and snatched up the trailer hitch, camper and all. Dee felt a tug. Mcgee heard a knock as the bear pulled the camper right off of the rock. He dragged them both all the way back to the bank. When he realized the hitch was not sweet but quite rank, he spit out the hitch and left in dismay, while Mcgee and Dee's camper again rolled away. It flew down the path with a jolt and a jar, and stopped in some bushes right next to the car. Dee popped her head out. Mcgee looked out too. Had they really stopped rolling? Could it be true? At last things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and drove off down the hill. And on the way home, Mcgee said to Dee, "That trip wasn't quite like I thought it would be." So when they got home, with the sky turning red, they decided to camp in their backyard instead. No, my goodness. Post in the comments if you've ever had something crazy happen to you on a camping trip or away at camp. I would love to hear a story about it if you have. The next one we're going to read, Famous Scaredy Squirrel. It's by Melanie Watt, and it's called Scaredy Squirrel at the Beach. That's where I'll be spending most of my summer. Warning, Scaredy Squirrel insists that everyone put on number 65 sunscreen before reading this book. Scaredy Squirrel never goes to the beach. He'd rather vacation at home alone, where it's safe, than risk being surrounded by the wrong crowd. A few crowds Scaredy Squirrel wouldn't want to be caught in the middle of: a flock of seagulls, tribes of jellyfish, herds of sea monsters, tons of falling coconuts, packs of pirates, and mobs of lobsters. So he's perfectly happy to build his very own private beach. Scaredy Squirrel's Guide to Building a Safe Beach. What you need to get started: paper and crayons, a stick, an inflatable pool, one flashlight, a bag of kitty litter, plastic flamingo. Draw a beach scenery. Use a stick to hold it upright. Cover the ground with sand. Inflate the ocean. Turn on sunlight. And install beach wildlife. And enjoy. It looks like a beach and feels like a beach, but it doesn't sound like one. Scaredy Squirrel notices something's missing: the soothing sound of the ocean. The solution: make a quick trip to the real beach and find a seashell that fits the description below. Seashell quality and performance: germ-free, shiny exterior, crystal clear ocean sound, red alert. Seashells must not, I repeat, not be occupied. You definitely don't want anybody living in there. But traveling to the real beach requires careful planning. First, get a passport. There's Scaredy Squirrel's passport. It says, family rodent, type flying squirrel, first name Scaredy, middle name Orville, last name Squirrel, initials SOS, place of birth a nut tree. The subject has never traveled. Second, draw a map. A beach map. Mission, operation, seashell. So here's his amazing map. It says 7 a.m. Enter box and wait. Don't forget passport. 7:30, get picked up by mail truck. Verify passport. 8:42, arrive at beach and wait until the coast is clear. Don't lose passport. 11:42, exit box and find seashell. Hold passport. 1:49, enter box and wait for pickup. Check passport. 6 p.m., get delivered back to Nut Tree. Put away passport. So, here he is. It says, I am here. He's in the box. He gets driven. Seashell should be here. And it says, caution, coconuts have a mind of their own. They can knock you out without warning. Careful, birds of a feather flock together. Seagulls can drop by at any time. Never trust a mob of lobsters. They are a pinch territorial and are eager to snap. Important, sea monsters are camera shy, so keep camera close by. Ahoy, matey, watch for pirates. Arr, they'll make you walk the plank. Stay away from the tribes of jellyfish. You'll be stung by how sneaky they can be. And last but not least, travel light and dress accordingly. Scaredy's beachwear. This squirrel is a trained professional. Don't try this at home. So this is what Scaredy's going to wear to the beach. Protective headgear for falling coconuts. Protective eye patch to fool the pirates. Protective flotation device to prevent sinking. Number D, a protective camera to discourage monsters. Protective compass to avoid getting lost. Protective French fry to distract the seagulls. Protective oven mitts to block germs. Protective rubber band to tame the lobsters. And protective footgear to shield from jellyfish. Remember, if all else fails, play dead and send an SOS. Do you think he's wearing too much to the beach? The next morning, as planned, Scaredy Squirrel jumps into the box. At 7:30 a.m., he gets picked up. They drive and drive. At 8:42 a.m., Scaredy gets dropped off and waits and waits. 11:42 a.m., a crowd appears. People were not part of the plan. Scaredy Squirrel panics and plays dead. 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, 2 hours later, they've covered him in sand. Finally, Scaredy Squirrel realizes that the perfect seashell is right under his nose. Surrounded by friendly people, he decides to join the crowd. Scaredy Squirrel builds sand castles, takes pictures, and sunbathes with the others. He forgets all about the flocks of seagulls, tribes of jellyfish, herds of sea monsters, packs of pirates, tons of falling coconuts, and mobs of lobsters. He's glad to be part of the crowd. Floats around in the ocean. Wow, it's getting very brave. Back home, after a day of fun in the sun, Scaredy Squirrel is inspired to make one more important addition to his own beach. A crowd. Look at all the garden gnomes he set up so it looks like it's full of people. It's so funny. P.S. As for Scaredy's next visit to the beach, it might be sooner than he thinks. I hope you guys enjoyed our summer story time, and I hope you all have the best summer ever. I cannot wait to see you all in September. I will miss you, and goodbye.